The Texan was to invite all his friends over to his house. And in his house, in his backyard, he had a huge pool. And he filled that pool with alligators and snakes and piranha. And all the people standing around, he stood up and said, I'm going to give half of my wealth to anybody who will swim across this pool. And if they decide to do that, I'll also give them my daughter's hand in marriage. You choose. Which one will it be? All of a sudden, splash! Water flying everywhere. And this guy comes out the other end, standing soaking wet. Everybody starts applauding and cheering, and the rich Texan comes up and says, that's fantastic! What do you want? Do you want riches? Do you want my daughter's hand in marriage? What do you want? He said, no, what I want really is the name of the guy who pushed you. Have you ever been pushed to do things you don't really want to do? This morning, in the next few minutes, I want to give you a couple of handles, a couple of keys to help push you to have a better day. Key number one is this: choose your attitude. You can choose. It doesn't need to be the guy down the street who's cutting you off driving your car. It doesn't have to be your boss or your co-workers or your spouse or your kids. They can't affect you unless you let them affect you. I want to encourage you today to choose your attitude. And here's kind of 4 handles for that. Fill your mind with some good, positive thoughts. Wake up in the morning, have good, positive thoughts. I heard a prayer recently where the gal said, Lord, I'm having a good time so far. I haven't lied or cheated or gossiped or hurt anybody's feelings. And I'm going to get up in a couple minutes and I'm going to ask you to help me because I'm not going to be able to do it on my own. What kind of prayer could you have to start your day? It seems that what we've got to do as we go through the day is to choose to fill our mind with good, positive thoughts. And then here's something else that I found really interesting. Affirm yourself. Encourage yourself. Think well of yourself. It doesn't take long for people to come down and push stuff onto us. Think well of yourself. Sometimes you need to look in the mirror and say, I am okay. Yes, we got problems. Yes, we got hassles. But I am okay now. Thirdly, you can think about all the good things that are in your life. What could be good in your life? Well, you're working, you got a car, you got all kinds of good things that are happening in your life with your family and friends. There are good things happening. Sometimes you come across a Debbie Downer. Ever come across those kind of people? Debbie Downers? Or could be a Tom Downer. Could be somebody else. It doesn't have to be a Debbie Downer. But we want to be able to think positively about ourselves. And then I want you to try something today, is to say positive words. Be positive. Be positive. You can be standing in line at a restaurant and you're waiting in line to pay and there's 15 people in line. I know I've done this. What's happening? Well, what? Hurry up there! And we start thinking bad about the people up front. It takes work and effort to be positive. Think positive. So key number 1 is to choose your attitude. You have a choice. You can choose it. Decide to do it today. Key number 2 is choose your priorities. Choose your priorities. What's important to you? If you knew you couldn't fail and money was no object, what would you do for a living? What would you do? Choose your priorities today. Whatever it might be, in your business, with your family, with your kids, with your friends, choose your attitude and choose your priorities. Time is important. You can't manage time. You can't, I've been to time seminars. You can't really do that. But we can manage our priorities, and our priorities will affect our time. Time is important. You think of a course of a year. Well, that's not that big a difference, 365 days. But think of the student who failed the final exam for that year. Pretty important. You think about a month. How important is a month? 30, 31 days. Think of the mom who had a premature child 1 month, 14 days. A month is pretty important. You think of a week. Think of the editor of a magazine or a paper, how important 1 week is. What about a day? A day is important to many people. Think of the wage earner who has 6 kids, and that 1 day's work is very important to that person. Think of a minute. 1 minute's important. Talk to a guy who missed his plane. 1 minute is important. What about a second? What about a second? What about the person who survived a car accident. Because it was 1 second difference. What about a millisecond? Want to find out about a millisecond? How important is a millisecond? Talk to a silver medal winner. That's important, a millisecond. So when we think about our priorities, we think about our time, and we can manage our priorities but not our time. But when I think about having a good day, I think about implementing, choosing the right attitude, and choosing our priorities, managing our priorities and not our time. December 17, 1903, two guys got together. And their name was Wilbur and Orville. Wilbur and Orville Wright. Now their dad was a bishop. And he said this. He said, flight was made for birds, not for man. That was their dad. He said that. So Wilbur and Orville got together and they worked and tinkered on a plane that they called, they flew it at Kitty Hawk. They didn't know how to fly a plane. They had no license. But they said, let's get together. And they flipped a coin. They took a coin out of their pocket and they flipped it. Who will fly first? And it was Orville. Orville had the first chance to fly. And these guys had the right attitude. They chose their priorities. They decided what to do. So on December 17, 1903, the first flight was 12 seconds and 120 feet. They had 3 more flights that day. And the longest one, also by Orville, was 852 feet and 59 seconds. These guys were inspirational to me. They didn't know what they were doing, but they did it afraid. They stepped out afraid. They went ahead afraid. Didn't know how to do it, but they were afraid and they did it. I want to encourage you today. I hope I was able to push you with the right having the right attitude. I hope I was able to encourage you to have the right priorities. And when you're thinking about if you can do it or not do it afraid.